So in this video, we're going to start here in assignment 5, which is to download the data for the assignment, which will contain a building shape file, a mosaic or 2 aerial images, and then the ownership boundary of the Mount Hood campus. And our process here is to add that data to a new map project, and then create a new feature class, which we're going to call parking lots. And we're going to have to create or digitize the parking lot locations on the campus. So we're going to use this MHCC campus map as a reference. And when you click on that, it'll take you to this guy. So this map is definitely changed from your virtual page. As you know, your virtual page normally north is up, so this one has been rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise, so north is up on this side. So just be cognizant of that where you're look at your street and so forth. So to save some time here, I've already started an ArcMap project, and using our catalog, I've gone over here to insert. I've clicked on my add folder, and I've created this folder connection here to the homework 5 data that I downloaded from the Blackboard page in OneDrive. And within that, you have a variety of things here. You have a geodatabase with this mosaic. The mosaic should just combine these 2 images, but you have 2 aerial images here. Both are 6-inch resolution. And so you're I use those and turn off the world topographic and the hillshade, just because the imagery is going to be a little bit better, even though it's somewhat dated. It's easier to see the parking lot locations. You also have the Mount Hood buildings. So that's what I have here, this layer. And then you also have the ownership boundary, which is just the combination of the tax lots. So you can keep that on there if you want. So the first step we need to do is create a new feature class in our geodatabase here. So I'm just going to right click on that, point to new, go to feature class, and we're going to title this one parking lots. Be sure to not include any spaces in this, and I use an underscore here. And we want to make sure that this is a polygon feature. And then we have 6 pages here to follow through with this feature class. So we're going to hit next. At this point, this is what our attribute table is here. So I'm going to click on this to add a new field. And since we look at the assignment, we're going to need to digitize the parking lots, and we're going to add the corresponding letter to those parking lots. So we're just going to call this lot letter. You can call it whatever you want. Letter is fine. And we want to make sure that that's a text field. We're going to go ahead and hit next. And since ArcMap here projects on the fly, whatever feature class we have in terms of projection, it's assumed this projection. And so we're going to use that one for our feature class here. Go ahead and hit next. This just is the coincidence of how close points will be before they're considered the same. And so I just usually take the default. Again, here we'll just go next. And then we're going to finish. And we get over here, the parking lots feature class is being added, and we should see that back over here in catalog in our geodatabase. So it's now stored in the geodatabase. And before I digitize, I usually go in and change the symbology here or that. So just what I mean by that is just change this to where it's not filled in. So you can usually just double click on that. We'll get into that symbology as well. Over here to the Symbology tab, and we'll make that just, you can make it a hollow or no color. And then a lot of times I'll digitize just in, purple or something like that. Apply that. Hollow is nice because you'll actually be able to see through it if you have to edit or something. You can always go back and change that at a later point. So then the next thing we're going to do here is, if you want to, you can go through the process of setting up a domain, which is in chapter 4 of your textbook. Starts on page 130. And how we do that, you don't necessarily need to do that since you're only, adding one individual letter for the alphabet. But if you want to, I can walk you through that process of how I would do that. So we'll right click here, open our attribute table, and we have this lot letter here. And so we're going to click on the table options, and we're going to point to fields view. And then we should have this new field here which has domain, and then here's our lot letter that we created when we made the geodatabase. And so at this point, you have to kind of click on that twice slow, but you can go in here and we're going to add new coded values. And so I'd done this before and I called it parking lot letter, but we're going to make our own now at this point. So just 2 slow clicks, and we'll call this, lot letter. No space. In the description, you can then, type in there, this will be the parking lot letter for MHCC or something like that. And then over here is where you're going to add your coded values. So I'm going to put those all in there is in capitals, and then you hit a hard return here, and you can just continue with your corresponding letters. So all letters of the alphabet for the lots except I and O. Those 2 are missing. And so we'll just continue with that through here. You get kind of the idea. And then we also have a lot at the very end, which is called lot AM. So you can always go back and edit that as well. The critical part here at this point is, I wish it was down here in the virtual page close to you, but it's up here in the top. So you must save it. And then I can go ahead and close these things. I'm going to close this, and it's going to tell me I need to save changes. So I need to save those. And then I'm going to just go ahead and close my attribute table so I get back to my virtual page. And when we digitize, a couple of different things on here. I'm going to turn my buildings layer off, and I'm just going to zoom in to this upper lot, and we can see, we can always go back and check what lot that is. So that upper lot is this lot here, which is lot W. So to begin digitizing, or to start digitizing, we need to have the edit ribbon enabled up here on the top, and we're going to begin our editing session. And then over here on your side tabs here, I need to be in create feature, and I'm going to create this feature in parking lots. And then that allows me to select my editing tools here, and I'm just going to do kind of a free-form polygon. You can make a square if you want, that's totally fine. But using my imagery here, I can see where the vegetation ends, and I can put my cursor over that and begin to draw. And then here, the vegetation kind of runs into this tree here, but we'll interpolate where that is, the corner. I'm going to left click up here again in the vegetation under the trees. Then kind of best scenario, double left click to save that. So you can see if we hadn't changed the symbology here and we had left this filled, it would actually fill over our lot, and it's a little bit more difficult to see. Again, we're just going to digitize here. just being cognizant of where those edges of the parking lot are. And so when you're done with that, and you can then open up your attribute table. And we don't have the letter W in here because I didn't code it, but back to our first parking lot, we should be able to pull on the drop down, and we could code it with the appropriate letter. I'm going to use not the correct one, but you can at least see with that drop down menu how the domain actually works. So it's rather than just type that in there. You could, though, you could just simply type in the value that you wanted if you didn't go through the process to create that domain. So when we're done, we're just going to hit save. We'll save all of our edits, and that stops our editing session. And I'm going to close this, and then I'm going to turn off editing, okay, which I already did. I stopped editing. And then when you've created your final map, you're all the way done. Probably is going to look something like this, and that's what you're going to submit to me as a PDF file. So hopefully that works out for you, and let me know if you have any questions.